glaciers, red tides, and blood rain. Why is nature so gory? Today, in Ion Environment, we're looking at natural phenomena that are bloody. And cute baby hippo videos, if you get to the end of the video. In Antarctica's Taylor Valley region, what looks like a bloody crime scene disrupts the white landscape. It was discovered by an Antarctic explorer about 100 years ago, and he called it the Blood Falls. But the true story behind the Blood Falls isn't so violent. Actually, it's not violent at all. No penguins were harmed in the making of the Blood Falls. It took decades for scientists to figure out why the water was turning red. Basically, it has a lot of iron in it, so when it reaches the surface and makes contact with air, it basically rusts. Then, even though scientists knew why the water was red, it took them a long time to figure out where the water was coming from. And they found it in a reservoir about 300 feet away, under the glacier. Now, if you're wondering why the water under the glacier hadn't frozen, there's actually another simple explanation for that too. When water freezes, it releases some heat. So basically, the water that feeds the Blood Falls was left in its liquid state. So there you have it, really irony water. This isn't a Jaws situation. Like the Blood Falls, red tides have a pretty simple explanation. It's basically tons and tons of algae, which are underwater plants, that suddenly come into bloom. And there's so much of it that the water changes color. Some of this algae is red or brown, and that's what makes it look like blood. Pretty simple, right? But be careful, because sometimes these algae blooms can be dangerous to humans. If they make it into our water supply, or if they make it into the shellfish we eat, they can be toxic, and there have been some deaths reported. But usually it's pretty harmless to us. What is more concerning is that these algae blooms can suck up all the oxygen out of the water, which basically can suffocate fish and other marine animals. And as climate change makes global temperatures warmer and warmer, scientists expect a lot more algae blooms to pop up, so that's something to watch out for. Since the late 1800s, Kerala and Sri Lanka have experienced this weird phenomenon, blood rain. And some of the explanations are divine intervention or alien intervention, but scientists have a different explanation, and it's pretty similar to the red tide. Researchers suspect that blood rain happens when algae spores are swept up into the atmosphere, possibly by wind. Then, after a big thunderstorm, it all comes down and looks very red. So, no murderous explanation there. Alright, you made it. Cue the baby hippos.